Our next presenter is Bill White. Bill White is the Applied Engineering and Technology teacher at Avonworth Middle and High School in Pennsylvania. Bill is presenting on behalf of Matter Hackers. Please welcome Bill.
Hello, everyone. Bill White here. I'm going to speak to Tools at Work as part of ISTE 2020, Economical 3D printers for the classroom and beyond. So a little bit about myself. I'm a school teacher at Avonworth Middle School and High School. I've been there now for 17 years, going on to year 18. Let's see, my slideshow is not going. There we go. But I'm an applied engineering teacher there. I've been there now 17 years, as I said. I teach grades 7 to 12. I'm an advocate for 3D printing and also a member of 3D Pittsburgh, which you'll see later on is something that is very, very important here. My classes are all hands-on, which when the pandemic struck, going virtual was a challenge for all of us. But for me, I was wondering, how's that going to look? So traditionally, my schedule, I run a 40 to 45 minute class period, and all those classes are unique. So in those classes, 3D printing definitely was a part of those, which I have 6 3D printers, and that helps out run some of the projects that I do with my classes. And these projects range anywhere from a simple keychain to automotive parts for my more advanced students. And I make my students go through the entire design process, so it's not a cookie cutter project. The class that I'm going to focus on here today is my sim class, which is computer integrated manufacturing. Some of the stuff that we do in that class, we do CNC routing, CNC mill work, we do laser engraving. 3D printing is also a big portion of that class, so it was a natural fit. So virtual learning with a hands-on class. I had a ton of questions, and these questions, obviously I had communication with my building principals, my superintendent, and that was a critical part to get the ball rolling. So what worked for myself in my district, we were fortunately able to acquire 8 monoprice MP10s from Matter Hackers, along with some filament to print PPE. These printers were shipped directly to the students' houses, which obviously at the time was super important. Create video content. So for me, I had to create some content in order to get my students printing successfully. So some of the things that we worked on, obviously unboxing, putting the printer together, initial setup, and then printing. So how do we get slicing done and how do we print? So my students were fortunate enough to print PPE in conjunction with 3D Pittsburgh and obviously Matter Hackers as well as a resource to print for local hospitals. Okay, so curriculum and skills, as you saw before, this is tied directly into my sim class. We looked at real problems that were relevant to the students, and obviously with the pandemic, that's what we kind of focused on initially. So slicing software, printer setup, and high quality prints. Tools that helped with the pandemic. So we did shields, but we also did handles and things like that. I made my students go through and kind of design their own things. One of the problems that we ran into with designing, my students are all familiar with Autodesk products. So with that in mind, we couldn't really use that at home on a Chromebook. Fortunately, Onshape is a free program that runs just like Autodesk and does a phenomenal job, so we utilize that. Other lessons that occurred along the way, problem solving. Everyone out there is a problem solver naturally. With hands-on class, we really had to look at ways to make it more relevant to my students. And communication. So being able to communicate to solve the problem is super, super important. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So what can you do as an alternative? We are fortunate enough to have budget to make this work, but let's say you don't have that option. I was fortunate enough as well to test Print Lab curriculum, which is online. It is a super resource, so I highly recommend checking that out. If you're not familiar with Matter Hackers, utilize them as a resource as well. Yeah, they have all the maker equipment out there, 3D printers, laser engravers, CNC equipment, but more importantly, it's the people behind the company that matter. So make sure you take a look at them. They're going to be able to help you get set up and answer any questions that you have along the way. Your local 3D printing club. So I did utilize 3D Pittsburgh, which is phenomenal. Reach out to your local community. I did skip about 3D pens, but if you're at a younger grade level, take a look at 3D pens. That's a great option to use to get started with 3D printing. Real quick here, but thanks for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Email is attached here. And then if you have any other questions regarding equipment, reach out to Mara at Matter Hackers. Thanks for your time, guys. I appreciate it. Stay safe and have a good school year.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. That was so nice to hear about how you are doing that, especially remotely and during these difficult times.